So basically what we need to do is rearrange both of these equations. We have a quadratic here and we have a linear here, and what we're going to do is rearrange them so that they're both equal to each other because they both have y in them. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to leave this as it is, but we're going to rearrange this one. Sorry, it's a bit blurry for some reason. So what we're going to do is we're going to, pen's broken, so we're going to add y, and then we're also going to minus 5. Come on, phone, you can do it. So that will give us 5 plus y equals x, and then we'd end up with y equals x minus 5. So now both of our equations, the linear one, because we just have to x to the power of 1, and this one, which is a quadratic, so we've got x to the power of 2, are both equal to y. So we can actually now write them next to each other because essentially they are the same thing, just described in different ways. So now what we do is to solve a quadratic. The whole point of solving a quadratic is to make it equal to 0, because when we solve a quadratic it will tell us where our two roots are. What I mean by those two roots is where it crosses the x-axis, and the x-axis is described by y equals 0, so we need to make this whole equation equal to 0. So I'm going to minus x from this side and plus 5, because then I'll be left with 0 on this side. So I end up with x squared minus 35 minus x plus 5, and now that all equals 0. So now we've got our x squared term, our x to the power of 1 term, and our x to the power of 0 terms, which is minus 35 plus 5. So we're left with, come on pen, we can do this, x squared minus x minus 30 equals 0. So now that is our full quadratic, and we can factorise it. So I'd look at this and say, well, what two numbers times together to make 30? So 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, 5 and 6. And which two of those make a comfortable gap of 1, because this is one lot of x between them. So I need a negative x. So when the numbers are times together, one of these is going to be negative and one of them is going to be positive, because a positive times a negative makes a negative. So when they're times together, they make minus 30. But when they're added together or summed, we get negative x. So we need, when they're summed, the larger value to be negative. So that means that my factorising is going to be minus 6. And my next binomial is going to be x, sorry my pen's, x plus 5 equals 0. So now, to be able to make something 0, one of the objects has to be 0 that you multiply it with. So 0 times whatever number goes here equals 0. So x would have to be 6 to make this bracket 0. And now x would have to be minus 5 to make this 0. So therefore, on these points here, this would be positive 6 and this would be minus 5, and that would be what our graph would look like. I hope that helps. Let me know if it doesn't.